Okay, so now we made it to the next section. So up until this point, we've gone over quite a bit of information concerning functions. Like I said, functions is the light. If you need functions, but everything in your program is going to use a function, and you want to understand the principles and the rules of them because when we get over into React, you need to have a good understanding how they work because there's a learning curve there with writing functions for React. So let's focus on all the principles and rules, get those out of the way so you can have a solid foundation. Now, if you are coming to this channel and you're not a part of the cohort, you can follow along with the curriculum as well. It's a free curriculum. The link is in the description and go ahead and check it out. Also, too, it won't cost you anything, but you can subscribe and you can turn on the notification bell to get updates. So let's get into the lesson. A good function writing process. The function is the most complex JavaScript construct that we have seen. Functions have more components to their syntax than conditionals or loops and can be used in more intricate ways than constructs. Than those constructs, I'm sorry. To avoid frustration and bugs, it's important to approach writing functions in an intentional, structured way. This is essential as you start to write more complex functions. In this section, we outline what we think is best approach. To provide concrete examples, we will consider a fictional function that is able to make a sandwich. Step 1. Design your function. Before putting fingers to keyboard, it is important to have a clear idea of what you want your function to do. You should ask yourself the following questions. Now remember what I said earlier, we are the developers. You should already know what the result is before you start writing the code. What data, that is parameters, does my function need to do its job? Should my function return a value? Hint, the answer is always yes. What should be the data type of my function's return value? What is a good descriptive name for my function? What data types do we expect parameters to be? What are good names for my parameters? For our sandwich function, the answers might look like this. Return value, the finished sandwich. Return type, an object of type sandwich. Function name, make sandwich. Parameters, name and types. Bread type, string. Filling type, string. Condiments, array of strings. JavaScript does not actually have a sandwich data type, but we want our function to be as flexible as possible. For now, recognize that returning a simple string to describe the sandwich will not be useful. In later lessons, we will learn how to create custom data types. So making a virtual code-based sandwich here is not a problem. Step 2, create the basic structure. Now it is time to start coding. Using the design decisions you just made, write the minimum syntax needed to create the function. Here's what an outline of our sandwich function will look like. Function, make sandwich, bread type, filling type, condiments. Doing this step before writing the body will prevent silly mistakes like leaving off a closing bracket or forgetting to define a parameter. Step 3, write the body. With the basic structure in place, go ahead and start writing the function body. Be sure to alternate between subtask and running your code. So what are we saying? Don't wait to the end to run your code. Run code, like I said, between subtasks so that you can find out if it's working. And once you get it working, keep it working. Do not wait until you have written the entire function body before testing your code. And what do we mean by that? So here we have this make a sandwich. We got the bread type, filling type, and condiment. So up here we have some instructions on what we want the bread type to be, a string. So what type of bread? Rye, wheat, leave it open to where you can make it more dynamic. So you can write that first, and then you can write the filling type, get it working, the condiments, array of strings. That's what we mean. Write it in little small sections before you finish it, because sometimes you'll run across bugs and syntax errors and reference errors that you may find difficult to find and you may have to rewrite the whole thing again. We can't emphasize this enough. Going long stretches of time without running the program is a good way to end up frustrated. Recall in chapter on debugging that we made the following recommendation to avoid bugs. Get something working and keep it working. This applies especially to writing functions. Every good professional programmer works in this way. Write a few lines of code, run it, debug any errors, repeat. Following these steps won't prevent you from making mistakes, but it will certainly reduce the number of bugs you create. This helps you more quickly produce solid working code. Okay, so we made it to the end of this section. Wasn't anything here that I wanted to kind of demonstrate, but we'll start demonstrating in the next section. So again, the more you do, the more you improve.